Special thanks to all our patrons who support the show every single week. Patrons, you keep the Run, Eat, Drink podcast going, and we're so grateful for all the support you give and the community that you've helped us to build. Not a patron yet? Join us today. Head over to patreon.com/runeatdrinkpodcast or buymeacoffee.com/runeatdrinkpod and subscribe for bonus content, social media shoutouts, and much more. Help support our show by using our Amazon affiliate link anytime you shop on Amazon for running gear, food, beverages, or anything else the little gray trucks might bring your way. Just use runeatdrink.net/Amazon anytime you shop. There's no additional cost. It's just one bonus click to help us keep the lights on and the bandwidth flowing. Go to runeatdrink.net/Amazon. And we thank you for your support.
Hi, team. I'm Fitz Kohler, one half of Team Noisy, and you are listening to the Run, Eat, Drink podcast.
Welcome to the Run, Eat, Drink podcast. We feature destination races from across the country. And after the race, we take you on a tour of the best local food and beverage to celebrate. So whether you are an elite runner or a back of the packer like us, you'll know the best places to accomplish, explore, and indulge on your next runcation. Hey, welcome to episode 295 of the Run, Eat, Drink podcast. I'm your host, Amy.
And I'm your co-host, Dana.
Welcome back. I thank you for welcoming us back.
Yes. If you've been wondering what the heck happened in your podcast feed and you didn't have us, we've got two words for you. Milton and Helene.
Yes. Not in that order necessarily. I think we got
Helene and Milton.
Helene and then Milton.
But that's why. So we are thrilled to be back with you and have stable power and internet connection to be able to actually do a podcast.
And a brand new rebuilt hard drive.
Oh,
right?
Yeah. We'll talk a little bit about some of the fun that we had with the storms in just a minute. But yeah, the storms really gave us a 1-2 punch, and it's good to be back to normal.
It is. It is. You have had quite the work schedule, my co-host. You have.
And if you just cut out things like sleeping and a personal life, it's fine.
Sure,
Everything's fine. I'm fine.
Everything's fine.
Yeah.
Sure.
No, I guess we could get right into that stuff. We were, first of all, let's say this. We were very fortunate.
Yes.
Southwest Florida was spared the worst of both storms, thankfully. And oddly, the damage we took came from Helene, not Milton. And the first storm came through about, I want to say at this point, as we're recording, about 4 weeks ago.
Yes.
And that one skirted the coast of Florida, ended up going up into the Big Bend area. But for us here in Cape Coral, it was a storm surge event.
Yes.
Primarily. We got a couple of doozies of rain bands, but it was primarily a storm surge event. And we ended up, the south end of Cape Coral ended up under about 4 feet of water.
Yeah.
We ended up with wind damage at our house and had to get roof repair done.
Yeah.
And shout out to our friends at Roof Smart here in Cape
Very
Coral.
efficient.
They were amazing and got out and took care of that immediately.
Yes.
Kudos to them for doing that.
For sure.
And we basically got a week off and then we turned right around and then there was the second storm coming. And that one was like watching the horror movie villain that just walks the whole time, but the victims are running and stumbling over things and the thing just walks towards them slowly, keeps getting closer no matter what. That was the feeling this one gave. And you ended up evacuating.
I did.
Because there was a point where we changed the way that we handle storms here in Cape Coral. We tried what we call distributed response last time with Ian, and we learned the hard way that the city, as you all have heard me talk about
it's huge.
On previous shows, we're not very elevated. So there's
It's
not
huge and low.
It's huge and low. So highest point in the city is like 23 feet or 32 feet. My dyslexia is kicking in there. But
we have no idea. Yes.
But that is the highest point in the city. We live in flood zone B, and Ian took out my police car, and many people that worked for the PD weren't able to respond. So we're like, okay, not doing that anymore. So for this one, we had to all be in the building. So and you were reluctant to leave, and and the conversation went something like this. It's currently a category 4 on its way to a category 5. I'm not going to be here at all during the storm. So maybe board the dogs and go see your friend up in New York.
Yes. A friend and member of the Runcation Nation, Janine, and her father, affectionately known as Big Ed, who do Big Ed's Eats over on Facebook. They took me in, and I was allowed to work up at my day job. For those of you who don't know, I am a digital senior customer service representative for Nespresso, and they let me work at the Nespresso Square.
Yes.
Up there. And I got to see the sights with a perfect tour guide in Janine and her dad, Ed. And we found a 5K.
Yeah, here's a secret. There's going to be some future content for the show coming from New York City.
Yes, it's going to be exciting from New York and from a couple of different boroughs up there.
Very nice.
So I just shout out to them and shout out to my company for my day job. They were just so good to me.
They really were. They were very accommodating, and it was very nice to hear that and to see that. Southwest Florida really lucked out. The damage in Florida really starts north of us and goes all the way. It caught everything south of the Big Bend area and went down towards Tampa, St. Pete, Clearwater, Sarasota. Yeah. And those areas really got the brunt of the impact. So we're very fortunate. We've been in that situation. Yeah. That was their Ian.
It was.
And, where hearts go out to everybody up there because, number one, that's where I'm from.
Of course.
And seeing old neighborhoods getting so badly damaged, so flooded, and knowing what they're going through, it's pretty rough to see. But they're gonna bounce back. They're gonna rebuild, and within the next 2 years, there'll be little reminders here and there, but they'll be back to normal. And
we've been up there for Gasparilla. We went up there for our very first episode for the Tampa Beer Run. We've been at Al Lopez Park for Meb's race to support his foundation. So we reached out to everybody that we knew in the Tampa, St. Pete, Sarasota area. I reached out to Tim Shackton at Eulalie as part of the Columbia Restaurant Group, and I was just, hey, are you all okay? And they are reopened up there, luckily. And
those were some of the areas hardest hit.
Yeah, it's amazing.
The race course we run for
right next to the water,
Gasparilla, was under several feet of water.
Yeah.
And they got the double whammy also. They got the surge event during Helene, and then they got the direct hit. I don't know what the reporting looks like around the country and around the world for it. They are still very much in recovery mode. They will be for months to come. I don't even know if everybody's got power fully restored. I think that they are at the point now where most houses would have power if it's available, unless the house took damage. I think that's the point where they're at now up there. But anyway, this has been a busy few weeks. We are so sorry that we were not able to maintain a regular publishing schedule. We're back.
Yeah.
And we're not going anywhere.
No.
Thank you for sticking with us and for being so understanding. And we've had tons of you reach out and ask how we're doing. And I know you've been doing some of the lives on Instagram.
A couple of days this week I was able to, once I got back from New York this past weekend. And everybody has been so good to us. And so that really starts the shout out section of our show because
we're giving you all shout outs for reaching out.
Yes. And we are just thinking of everybody who has been through what we remember from Hurricane Ian and so much more. And we just hope for a lot of support and a meaningful and quick recovery from the storm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You did get some shout outs.
I did. They're delayed, though.
So we're playing catch up, and everybody bear with us.
Yeah.
This is going to be a bit of a flashback episode for everything, and we'll get caught up over the next episode or two.
Yes. So Cheryl Miller, congratulations on reaching your goal of 50K at the 12-hour ATR and 51.1 miles at the 2024 Hinson Lake 24-hour Ultra Classic.
Wow. That's
she
crazy.
Is our ultra marathoner.
Mm-hmm.
Like she and Greg in Orlando could do a whole show. Come on and tell us the secrets to ultra running.
Yeah. I like the sound of that.
Yeah.
We also have a shout out for Dawn Broussard, who completed the inaugural Visit Day Broussard half marathon to complete a race with her own name on it.
Oh, and we're so excited to see Dawn at the Wine and Dine half marathon weekend in November and to congratulate her in person. She is, wow, her energy. When I think of Tampa, I always think of her on that Gasparilla course, just dancing away when we did that 15K.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, her spirit is contagious. It's infectious and we love it. And another shout out goes to Barbara or Babs, who is part of the D Squad ambassadors for the Donna Foundation with us. She and her Boston Children's Hospital team earned a Safety Advocate Award, and Babs posted pictures of her up at a podium, and she's just passionate about what she does, and congratulations to her and everybody at Boston Children's Hospital.
Yeah. And Stephen Hardy, a longtime friend of ours, friend of the show, former coworker of yours.
And almost student.
Completed the Akron Marathon to honor his father. So that's amazing.
And I keep trying. Helene and Milton held us back from recording his Runcation recap. So, Stephen, I am going to message you and get a new date and time so that we can capture your experience up there.
Absolutely.
Congratulations to Emily O'Keefe, who's celebrating 5 years of marriage.
And last but not least, we want to give a huge shout out to Greg and Jovina, our friends and owners of Nice Guys Pizza. They are sponsors of the show, patrons on our Patreon. Mm-hmm. They have introduced their fall cocktail menu, and I love their cocktail menus. They do seasonal menu release, sometimes more frequent than that. And they always have a great theme to their stuff. But this one, they did something really pretty special. There's a drink on the menu, and it's called I Dream of Autumn Barbie. And this is a drink that you actually helped their former mixologist design.
That's true.
And
true.
They did this for us, and it's so cool. If you order the I Dream of Autumn Barbie, $2 from each drink sold goes to the Donna Foundation to support their mission to help those battling breast cancer and the support that they give to groundbreaking research that we hope one day will finish breast cancer. Greg and Jovina, you guys are amazing for doing that. Thank you.
And we hope to feature that as well as this entire fall cocktail menu. I would love to do just a bonus episode where they talk about their drink menu and the inspiration and maybe show us how to make the Autumn Barbie, which is named for me because when we first started to go to Nice Guys Pizza, we were one of their first 2 customers.
They didn't know our name, so they referred to us as Barbie and Ken.
Yes. And so when we were telling Brittany what we liked and what we wanted in a drink, she mixed this together and it worked. And it's got bourbon, spiced pear, maple, orange, and black walnut bitters.
It's ridiculously good.
It's so good, and it has like a dried pear on the top as a garnish. Mm-hmm. We covered it, I think, last year in an episode, but I hope that we get to spotlight it as well as some other special and really creative drinks from the menu.
Oh, yeah.
Coming up on some extra content.
But that's it for this week's shout-outs. If you want a shout-out for you or someone else you love on the show, email us at info@runeatdrink.net. That's info@runeatdrink.net. Or you can give us a call
at 941 677-2733. That's 941-677-2733.
Call and leave us a voicemail. Keep it to about a minute. Tell us who you are, who the shout-out's for, and we will make you Runcation Nation famous.
For sure.
Let's talk running.
Yeah.
We missed, thanks to the hurricanes. Hurricanes have they're really good at messing up everything. I mean, they really are. Yeah. Aside from the fact that they can change terrain features, they can also just mess up your calendar like you wouldn't believe. And during this hiatus we've been on, we missed International Podcast Day.
Which is September 30th.
Which is crap. So
that we missed it.
That we missed it. Yes.
Last year, we were really rocking and rolling in September. Yeah. We had the entire crew of some of the really great podcasts that we listened to. Mm-hmm. And when I saw that this is going to be a rewind, I wanted to highlight those, that you could flash back to those episodes and hear all about those podcasts. In addition, I wanted to supply some bonus ones when I was thinking about this, because it's a rewind episode for International Podcast Day, but it's also Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
And we're both voracious podcast listeners. I'm not exclusively spoken word, but I would say 90% of what I listen to is, whether it's podcasts or audiobooks or blinks on Blinkist.com. So I'm very into spoken word, and I think everybody knows that. For me, it takes me out of the monotony of a run to be able to engage the thinking part of my brain while
especially
I'm
on
talking.
a longer run.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it works well for me. It doesn't work for a lot of people, but we've got some good recommendations here, and I'm gonna kick it off.
Do it. Yes.
You heard her at the beginning of the episode. Fitz Kohler introduced us. She's one of our favorite race announcers out there. She's amazing. She's a published author. She is a podcast host, and she has a show called The Fitzness Show. And we've got a link in the show notes, but it's www.fitzness.com, and you can click through her menus and find the link to her show, but we're going to have it specifically in the show notes.
I really love her show because she'll talk about anything related to running. She'll talk about nutrition. She just, on one of the last long runs that I did before the hurricanes came, I was listening to her episode where she talks about the perfect formula for weight loss. Mm-hmm. And I don't care if you've had her course, which is a valuable course.
Which we've done and reviewed on the show.
It was still an episode where she reviews it, and you know it, but then she drops in these little nuggets here and there, strategies for success. Or she'll talk about tangential kind of topics related to fitness and overall well-being in life, and just she'll answer listener questions. And
she's not a one-trick pony. She's not just, yes, she's written books about her battle with breast cancer. They're fantastic books. We've bought it, we've read it, we've bought it for people, given it as gifts. So giving them as gifts, because it's more than one. And in fact, anytime you see us do a live stream, you see her book featured very prominently on the set. But she's so much more than that. And that she doesn't just do that and just talk about that.
No.
And it's funny because some guys are going to be like, I don't want to listen to some chick talking about breast cancer, blah, 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 blah. No. It's not. No. She's not like that.
Yeah.
She's got something for everybody. Yes, there are going to be some topics that might skew a little more towards our female part of the audience, but great content, great creator, and just a really good person and a great friend of the show.
Yeah. If you look at her episode list, just on the last one that she posted 2 days ago, Unlocking Success with John Spence, 10 Things You Should Know, Fitness and Menopause, Increasing Run Time, Severe Calorie Restriction, and more, or Protein, Insomnia, and the Post-Marathon Pivot, What's Next?
Yeah. So she comes at it from knowing the scientific underpinnings of the topic.
She gets experts, and she gets people who are funny and inspiring. And she did an episode about motivation versus discipline. And I just saw,
it's funny you mentioned that. I just saw a really good infographic on that. I need to find it and send it to you.
Oh, you should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be a good one to share on social media. But
I love that. I love that, but that's her.
So check out the Fitzness Show at fitzness.com. And again, link in the show notes. Add it to your podcatcher. You will not be disappointed.
Exactly. And in the theme of October, we are running the Donna Marathon weekend this year in 2020. I shouldn't say
Next
this year, but 2025, this iteration, this running season's iteration of it, the Booby Trap Challenge. There in honor of, we always run in honor of Dana's mother, who we lost in 2016 to breast cancer. We always run it to honor those that we know that are fighting, who have fought, that we've lost, that we run, and we are ambassadors for the Donna Foundation because we are so passionate about ending that disease, finding the cure. And our fellow podcaster from the Will Run For podcast, Erin, who she was diagnosed this past year with it, and she's in treatment right now. And she's
been sharing her journey as she's battling breast cancer very publicly.
Mm-hmm. And I think that is just inspiring, brave, and very beneficial to everyone else that is going through that. And she and her friend Stephanie, who are both survivors and battling it ongoing, they decided to start a podcast called Pace Yourself. It's Just Cancer. And you can find it. We link to it in the show notes, but it's on Spotify. It's on Apple Podcast. It's everywhere.
Like us.
Yeah. So it's Pace Yourself. It's Just Cancer. They said in episode 0 that they were going to take time to introduce themselves and share their journey, but then also to highlight not just breast cancer and their battles, but also other cancers that may not get such a big, it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month in October. And everybody knows that. But nobody knows that Lymphomas Month is September.
Right.
And the different struggles that can surround those battles. And they are just real people having a conversation about real things that happen to them as they go through this, as runners, as women, as cancer survivors. So it's Pace Yourself. It's Just Cancer. And I think that they have 2 episodes out right now. And so we're getting a jump on this early. And from what I understand, if you go listen and you give a 5-star review, that Tom from the Will Run For will do 5 miles for that.
Yes, that's right.
In addition to the 5 miles that he would do for a 5-star rating and review for the Will Run For podcast.
I would love to see him basically have to run to the moon.
So let's do it. I look forward to, maybe we can get Aaron and Stephanie on the show, or at least Aaron, to talk about what their vision is.
We might know someone.
Yeah.
We might know someone. Check them out. Again, the link is in the show notes. You've got the Spotify link here. Yeah. You'll be able to find it in other podcast directories, but we've got a link to it. And since you mentioned it, as this is a spin-off, the Will Run For podcast.
Oh, it's a spin-off.
It is.
You said it's a spin-off. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
So the Will Run For podcast, of course, the show that gave Erin her start into minor internet celebrity.
A minor internet celebrity.
It's just a fun bunch. If you've got your running buddies drinking and BSing.
Yes. Just hit the button.
I know. I don't have the bleeper. BSing about running and how much you hate it or love it in a given day. That's them. And they're just so much fun to listen to.
And they're
We've
real.
all had these conversations with our running friends.
Why running sucks.
Yeah.
Or something. Or why running is amazing. Or the different events that they do, and how running integrates into your life or doesn't at certain points. Yeah. And I love them. And I also love that in their community, they do inside the runner's studio, because I was such a huge fan of James Lipton.
Yes.
And inside the actor's studio, and they just do a play on that.
Mm-hmm.
And they incorporate his questions. And it's just amazing to meet other runners that way in the community. I feel like our communities, it's like Ghostbusters. Like we should cross the streams.
Absolutely. Yes.
So I just love that. And their banter makes me laugh out loud. And to your point, get out of my head about, oh, my IT band, and I still have so many miles to go in this long run. But they keep me going.
Mm-hmm.
So it's fabulous. And everybody should check it out. And I just put a link in there to their Facebook, but they are everywhere as well.
There you go.
All the pod catchers, as you say.
Yes.
Yeah. And a group that we had on last year for International Podcast Day was the Rise and Run crew.
Yeah, the Rise and Run podcast. This is a good friend of ours, Bob Rakel, and his crew up there. Bob lives in the area most impacted by the storms.
Yeah.
Fortunately, they're doing okay.
I think he was trying to even make light of, here we lost a part of a tree.
It's all you can do when you get hit by one that's that powerful. If you don't laugh, you're going to cry. Having been there, we know.
Yeah.
And no, but they're phenomenal. We met Bob by accident at Jeff Galloway race a few years ago.
Soaking wet in the rain.
And we were at
Orpheus Brewing. Such a great place.
And we were recording messages for Jeff, and Bob recorded one for us.
It was amazing.
Then we hit it off, and that's been it ever since. We try to connect at any of the races we can.
I would really love to have Bob on. I'd love to have the whole crew on, but I love how they break down all the Disney races that they go to. I love how they have runcation kind of reports from the community, and they're just so strong. I would love to have Bob on and talk about running as you age, and if you have a knee replacement, if you have a hip replacement, is it over? No. How do you have to handle it? How do you deal with that? I think it would be great to have him on.
Absolutely.
And the whole crew anytime.
And they are very easy to find. riseandrunpodcast.com. Link in the show notes.
Yay. So those are just some that keep us going on runs that might be tough.
So check those out. If you've got some suggestions of podcasts we should check out for our runs, please send us your suggestions. Drop an email, info@runeatdrink.net, or give us a call, 941-677-2733. Tell us about your favorite podcast to listen to other than the Run, Eat, Drink podcast, and tell us about it.
Enjoy that
and appreciate.
Yes, we appreciate your support, even in our hurricane delays, like rain delays.
It was one hell of a rain delay, that's for sure.
Yeah.
4 feet of water.
Yeah. We're just happy.
Helene.
We're just happy to be back. And as we turn to the segment where we always say, all this talk of running,
it does make me hungry. And it's not a podcast. These aren't podcasts we're going to be talking about here. We're going to talk about some food for just a second. But it's important because the food aspect attracts so many people to our community.
That's true.
We have people who are not runners that love listening to the show, and we love you to death.
Yeah. 0 bumper sticker.
Yeah, absolutely. But you selected 3, I think, to talk about that are great. And these are from all over the country. And I think it's a good selection of the type of stuff that we talk about.
Of course, it's not limited to these. You can go to our website at runeatdrink.net, and you can click on the Eat link at the top of the page, and you can see some amazing pictures of outstanding food and beverage from a variety of places.
Oh, and can I just tell you, I just had a conversation with somebody who's local to Rocket City, Alabama, Huntsville. And I just want to have a moment of silence for Toy Box Bistro that we featured so prominently and have talked about. I guess that they had a hard time coming back after COVID and they had to shut their doors. I hate that.
They were so good.
Absolutely fantastic. But occasionally that's going to happen. And it's fortunate that we were able to talk about it, able to memorialize it and celebrate it. And hopefully in some way, shape, or form, the restaurateur or the restaurant group that was responsible can make a comeback. But the ones that we have today are still operating, and you would be well served to find your way there. You selected for the first one, Aim, the spaghetti and meatballs from a restaurant called Number 246 that we featured in episode 196, 100 episodes ago.
All right.
Or 99 episodes ago.
Can you believe it?
Back in 2021.
I don't even know.
This is a restaurant that's located in downtown Decatur, Georgia, which is a suburb of Atlanta, an area I was very familiar with as a college student. And in recent years, downtown Decatur has had such an amazing renaissance, and they have brought in entertainment and dining and culture there that just didn't exist when I was a college kid there in the 90s. Number 246 was a beautiful little white table Italian restaurant.
So cute.
We got to go there with JoJo while we were up in Atlanta for the race. And their food from beginning to end
amazing
was phenomenal. But the spaghetti and meatballs, we've talked about this. Okay. Amy and I, if we go to a pizzeria and we've never been there before, we're getting, unless they've got some absolutely amazingly unique special,
true,
we're going to get the pepperoni pizza.
Because we want to see.
I'm a believer in this.
How do you do the basics?
If you can't execute a proper pepperoni pizza, I don't have a lot of faith in your other stuff. So
spaghetti
same with an
meatballs.
Italian restaurant, spaghetti and meatballs. If you can't pull that off, if I get watery sauce or chewy meatballs that you could bounce off the floor, it's going to be a problem.
This
was not a problem.
Was amazing. And I know you had amazing stuff, and so did JoJo. But the meatballs are just, there's something about carb loading for a race. And I know you should do it days before or some days before, but this was, the pasta was al dente.
The meatballs were firm without being chewy.
And not really, they didn't disintegrate. So they held up so you could actually do the little twirling with the spoon.
And get a piece of the meatball with your...
Yes, and get it like a perfect bite. Oh, so good.
Their sauce was fantastic.
Oregano,
the decor was great
basil,
in there. And really, there was nothing wrong with our experience there that whole night.
So good. And I'm just looking at their menu now going, wow, when are we going back there?
You also selected a pretty specialized item from the point farthest from us that we've ever traveled.
That's true. The Alaskan king crab legs from Simon and Seafort's.
Which we featured on Run Eat Drink episode 181 while we were there for the Anchorage RunFest.
Yes.
Simon and Seafort's is part of the restaurant group. And so if you are and this is just an insider tip, this is a big corporate restaurant group. They have a number of restaurants under their umbrella. Simon and Seafort's was recommended to us by a good friend of ours.
Oh, yeah.
And we had never heard of it. I don't know that they have other locations. I think this might be it.
I think.
And it is right down on the water in Anchorage.
Yeah.
It is a beautiful, I would call it reminds me of a classic American steakhouse.
Yeah, but it's...
And they were beginning to end one of the best meals we've had. They had the freshest Alaskan king crab.
It was so good.
Their
and
steak was phenomenal.
It was cut perfectly. Like, we didn't have to fight with it.
Oh, you mean the pre-cracking of the legs? Yeah. Okay. You could beat somebody to death with an Alaskan king crab leg. They're enormous.
I mean, you don't even have to hit somebody. You could scratch somebody just with the outer shell.
Yeah. They're weapons.
Yeah.
And then they make sure that you can easily get into it. And they just took such good care of us. We had a great view of the water while we were there having dinner. And literally there was nothing. The only thing wrong was that I couldn't eat everything.
I know. And we need to go back and do it right. When are we going to do that?
I'm not sure. But Anchorage RunFest, we've done twice. We featured it pre-COVID, post-COVID. That has appeared when we've been talking about favorite races. It's one of our favorites.
Yeah. We even had their organization on the show.
Yes. It's in Alaskan summer, so you don't have to worry about freezing to death.
No.
There's so much good about that, and it's such a cool city that if you've never been, it's worth the plane ride. Just remember that the Mercator map is a liar, and it's a much longer flight than you think. When you get to Seattle, you're halfway there.
But we made it
for
both
those
times.
of us flying from the East Coast. You're like, what?
We made it both times.
It's only an inch apart on the map. Yeah, that map is BS.
It's not.
Oh, yes, it is.
It's not accurate. Is what I mean.
Not even close. No. Run Eat Drink Podcast, episode 181 with the Anchorage Run Fest. We'll have a link in the show notes for that. And then you closed it out in your list you compiled here. And I can't argue with any of these picks, by the way.
There's some great stuff on it's really hard to.
This one you kept a little bit local or local-ish. Yes. This is the fried chicken from Bull and Bear that we featured in episode 197 when we were at the 2022 Walt Disney World Marathon weekend.
And we did the 10K.
Yeah, Bull and Bear is the restaurant inside of the Waldorf Astoria. And this is probably one of our favorite fine dining establishments.
I love it.
This is the type of place you go for a special occasion.
Of course.
We're telling you now, we cover everything from food trucks to fine dining. This is on the fine dining end of things. You're gonna pay for it. You will not leave here disappointed.
It's so worth it.
The fried chicken there is absolute. This is coming from a Southerner who grew up on fried chicken. My mom was born in Macon, Georgia. My dad in Spring City, Tennessee. And I have eaten my fair share of fried Yardbird. This was phenomenal. And we've gotten it repeatedly. And they serve it. So you get the fried chicken. You get basically half of a chicken
Which
prepared.
I think they marinate for an insane number of days. 21?
I don't remember, but I can tell you it's the best fried chicken I've ever had.
And it's coming from a steakhouse.
It is. And you get that. They have the most amazing mashed potatoes.
It's incredible.
That are the consistency of baby food. They are so amazing. They're so light.
Yeah, that's not meant to be a turnoff.
But they're so smooth. You are just... It is absolutely incredible. And then they do this gravy. And I'm forgetting. Oh, they do the gravy. It's a foie gras based gravy. And you would go, oh, wait, goose liver. Wait a minute.
No.
Stop. You will not taste. It does not have a taste of. It doesn't taste like organ meat. It doesn't have that irony kind of thing that you would think from anything liver related.
It's so good.
It is the silkiest, most unctuous, delicious gravy I've ever had. And I can't say enough good about this dish. And our friends who are there that we've made friends with from going there repeatedly, they tell us that this is the most popular dish on the menu.
Yeah. And like you came for a steakhouse, but you got to get the fried chicken.
And listen, they have amazing steaks. We've had steak from there. They have everything from a top sirloin to A5 Wagyu.
Oh.
And you're, like I said, fine dining, you'll pay for it. If you want to get A5 Wagyu, you're going to pay for A5 Wagyu. But it's going to be absolute perfection when it comes to the table.
God, it's so good.
They do an amazing job there. And I don't know if you have it in the drink section, but they have one of the best old-fashioned cocktails I've ever had.
The Bull and Bear Old Fashioned. The Smoking Bull, which if everybody at the table likes it, then you can get it. And it looks like a bowl in a...
It's a giant bowl-shaped decanter.
Yeah, and then they smoke it
inside of it.
But if you are like a party of one or two, they'll also smoke individual drinks, which I love.
Yes.
And
they have a great presentation for everything. It is such a great visual and total sensory experience when you go.
I love it.
And the service is
top notch.
Phenomenal. And if you go there repeatedly, you end up getting a server who's had you before that knows what you like. They take notes on you.
Yeah.
It's worth it.
Tony knows us.
Yeah.
For sure.
But we will have a link to them in the show notes as well. You're going to absolutely love that fried chicken. But I mentioned drinks. That leads us into the drink segment.
Indeed.
And you're leaning into the non-alcoholic drinks tonight.
I am. And it's not necessarily, we've talked about the Bull and Bear Old Fashioned. Come on. And we've talked about our friends at Nice Guys who have the I Dream Up on a Barbie.
Yes. So it's all about balance.
Yeah.
It's all about balance.
We're caffeinated. We're powered by caffeine.
Yes.
But what's great about what we have to feature is, first of all, International Podcast Day is September 30th. International Coffee Day is October 1st, the day after. And we have featured some amazing coffee on this show.
Yes.
For you. And you have recommended things. You have sent us quite a bit.
We're still drinking our way through pounds of coffee you guys have sent us and trying things out. And we can't thank you enough for that.
When you think about like Black Rifle, when you think about Death Wish Coffee, when you think about, we've had some Starbucks. We've also had some Expedition Roasters, which is amazing. What we're going to feature for a throwback or a rewind to International Coffee Day.
You found this.
Yeah.
I don't know how you found it.
My social media stalked me.
Okay.
I just was flipping through and I saw Long Run Coffee.
Long Run Coffee.
Yeah.
Okay.
Long Run Coffee. And I'm telling you, it is the coffee for runners because they have all sorts of different coffees.
But what makes it coffee for runners?
It's what they do to the coffee. Which is, it is, the names, first of all, are inspired by runners.
Okay.
But their tagline.
So it's more than marketing.
It's more than marketing. It's electrolyte power. It's electrolyte fueled coffee.
So this is we're not getting instant coffee. We're not getting cans of liquid coffee. They send you packets of coffee that are ground coffee that are infused with electrolytes so that you can get electrolytes from your morning cup of joe.
Exactly. Their tagline is fuel your passion, electrolyte infused coffee for athletes. And it's easier running, and they say their electrolyte coffee aids muscle contraction and it makes the run feel easier. There's no upset stomach when you have it before a run. It reduces sluggishness in your post-run routine. And there are flavors, and they're just straight up coffee too. Straight up coffee.
You had mentioned this to me, and then the next thing I start seeing these packets in the house. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, did you get them on the show? And she's like, nope, I've been trying. I tried. So we've reached out numerous times to them to try to get them on the show. And then you just broke down and bought some to try it out. So we're going to give you a little bit of a review of this, and we're paying customers, so we get to say whatever we want. Now, if they would like us if they like to sponsor us. I'm kidding. We're not for sale. We're mildly for sale. We'll always be honest, but we'll make certain.
And we're not going to tell you about things that if we don't like them.
We won't accept sponsorships from things we don't like and use.
And if we don't like it, it doesn't make the show anyway.
No. So, yeah. And do you want me to start or do you want to start?
I just want you to, you start. Okay. Go ahead.
So I looked at this and I'll tell you what it made me think of. It made me think of Expedition Roasters.
It very much did. The
packaging is really cute. They don't have quite the insane theming that Expedition does, but the packaging's cute.
Do they though? I think they do.
No.
It's just not theme park inspired.
Yeah, but the theme park inspired stuff's pretty awesome.
It is.
They sell prints.
That's true.
Of their bags.
That's fair. Okay.
I don't know that they're there yet. All
right.
For this bunch here at Long Run. Mm-hmm. But so you get these things in, and I'm looking through the flavors, and I'm not normally a flavored coffee person.
No.
I've said that before. Mm-hmm. Typically, flavored coffees companies use substandard beans and then they mask the fact that you're getting a substandard bean with the flavoring. I love the fact that they don't do that because I've tried their regular coffee.
Yeah.
I've tried their flavored coffees. And I can tell you that it absolutely is a wonderful varietal or blend that they have selected. And you're getting a fantastic cup of coffee, whether you go flavored or unflavored.
I agree.
And it is a long-standing, well-known thing. A lot of people, my grandmother was one, when making a cup of coffee very often, or making a pot of coffee, she would add salt to the basket
Or
where the grounds went.
And also people add cinnamon.
That's for flavoring. But I'm talking, she would add salt to kill bitterness.
Oh.
And that is essentially what they've done here. They've added salts, whether it's magnesium salts, whether it's sodium chloride. It's the electrolytes are salts. So they've added salts to the coffee. And in doing so,
Sodium bicarbonate.
it's killing. And the sodium bicarbonate also cancels out some acidity.
And potassium glutamate.
So
Calcium citrate, magnesium citrate. Yeah.
So these things are canceling out some of the natural acidity of the beans. So it's smoothing out the coffee and making it more drinkable in addition to providing you with electrolytes. So it's incredibly ingenious, and they've managed to do it in a way where it doesn't interfere with flavor.
No. Their theming is so clever also, because when you look at the names of all of the coffee, just the marketing of it, they have the Run Brunch bundle, which includes maple bacon, blueberry pancake, and the bottomless mimosa, which is orange flavored.
Right.
But then they also do it right with a light roast, a medium roast, and a dark roast, which they have junk miles. And the long run is the dark roast. And the junk miles, there is the trail, the technical trail. Those are medium, light, medium, and dark roasts. But then they have like just such a slight hand, such a deft hand with the banana.
The flavored.
The post-race banana, which is called.
The post-race banana, that's funny because we all joke about getting your free banana at the end of a race.
Of course.
The banana-flavored coffee, that reminded me a lot of the way, what's the other company? The Expedition Roasters does their flavors. Super subtle, really well done, didn't blow your doors off with the fake banana flavor. They did a great job with that. Really like that one. And that with a little bit of cream in the morning was phenomenal.
It's great. But also we made French presses.
Yes.
Of the junk miles, which is the medium roast.
Their plain coffees to me were
Just
killer.
great.
They were great on their own. That would be a great daily driver coffee.
I like the junk miles. But if you need a lighter roast, then there's the technical trail. And
You also got a PB&J.
I did.
I was not a fan.
I know.
I didn't get a whole lot of peanut butter and jelly flavor on that one. It was I like there was like it was LaCroix. You waved a picture of a peanut butter and jelly by it. No, I don't.
I know.
So I was not impressed with that one. So
do you know, I get it. Some flavors are for you and some flavors are not.
Right.
I like the PB&J with cream or milk.
I tried it.
And I just think there are some coffees that are meant for cream or milk.
Oh, 100%. That is 100% true. Even that goes back to Starbucks creating Pike Place. Pike Place is intended for cream and sugar. They brew them in that way. I just don't think that the flavor, if I gave that to you and said, tell me the flavor, I don't know that you get it.
I don't know. But we could try some of their fall flavors. Like they have Run Brunch maple bacon.
Now, see, that I think would be amazing.
I want to try that. And also brown butter pumpkin.
Yeah. You're talking my language there.
And then if people need decaf, do you know what they call the decaf? It's hysterical.
Why bother? No?
They're running themed.
Okay.
They're running themed, so they call it the 2-week.
Treadmill?
Oh my God.
What's
they
it called?
call it the 2-week taper.
Oh, God. Okay.
But do you get it?
I get it.
I think it's great. But then they have the Run Brunch Bottomless Mimosa orange flavor. They have, and they'll do collections.
See, that one interests me. To do the bottomless mimosa with maybe a little bit of steamed mocha.
Oh,
orange and chocolate.
interesting.
Yeah,
Interesting.
that'd be the way to go.
And between the time I ordered the coffee and I got it and tried it, they released a product that's fairly new, which is Ready to Run, which is electrolyte powder mix with caffeine. Smooth hazelnut latte.
Interesting.
I am curious about. Yeah.
So on the whole, I think that Long Run coffee is fantastic.
And I did use it before runs. And I feel like I think you have to use it more long term. We've just had it for the last couple months. But I think if you use it more long term, then you can see the benefits versus just regular coffee. Yeah.
We have a link in the show notes, longruncoffee.com. They are not a sponsor, although we would love for them to be.
Yes,
and if
we
nothing
would.
else, come on the show and talk about your product.
Please do.
Long Run Coffee, Runcation Nation, do us a favor. Tag them and everything. Tag them in this
please.
episode.
Yes.
Blow them up. We want them on the show.
We do.
I don't know if our emails were going to their spam filter
It's possible.
or what. Help us out.
They're
Help us
probably
get through to them.
they probably get a lot of requests. So
Yeah, but they're not getting a lot of requests from the preeminent Runcation podcast on Spotify or Apple Music.
or Overcast.
Exactly. Anyway, that is a wrap for this week. We're back. Thank you again for sticking with us and welcoming us back into your ear holes. We appreciate that more than you. Don't forget, the Donna Marathon Weekend registration is now open. We have a team available. So if you go to register, you can join our team now.
Yes.
It's at runsignup.com/RuncationNation 2025. All one word. Again, link in the show notes.
Of course. And you can use RC Nation 5 for a discount on the registration.
Was that RC Nation 5 for a discount on the registration?
Yes, RC Nation 5.
Thank you for joining us in 2024 on your long run, your commute to work, around the house, or wherever you are.
I'm your host, Amy.
And I'm your co-host, Dana.
Stay safe and well, and we will accomplish, explore, and indulge with you really soon. That's a wrap. So thank you for joining us on your long run, your commute to work, around the house, wherever you are. I'm your host, Amy.
And I'm your co-host, Dana.
Stay safe and well, and we will accomplish, explore, and indulge with you really soon.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of the Run, Eat, Drink podcast. We're having another great year thanks to your support. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. We're at Run, Eat, Drink podcast. And on Twitter, we're Run, Eat, Drink pod. You can also give us a call at 941-677-2733 or send us an email at info@runeatdrink.net. Visit our website at runeatdrink.net and click on the subscribe link so you don't miss a minute. Find out how you can support the show at patreon.com/runeatdrinkpodcast. Accomplish, explore, and indulge right along with us. We'll talk to you next time.